Many think that Japan is a very strict country, and rightfully so, but when you hear some of these Japanese laws, you may be scratching your head. And to be clear from the start, I don't recommend doing any of these things. I'm not providing legal advice, and this is for entertainment only. Alright, let's do this. 1. It's legal to own a samurai sword, katana, as long as it's registered. That's right. In most countries, owning a real sword that's sharp could get you into serious trouble, but in Japan, it's completely fine, as long as you follow the rules. You just have to register your blade with the local government under the Firearms and Swords Control Law, and you're good to go. There's even an entire community of sword collectors and craftsmen who still forge traditional blades using ancient techniques. You can't just walk around town swinging it, of course, but having one at home? Totally legal. 2. There are no laws against sleeping at work. Sounds strange, right? But in Japan, it's not just allowed, it's often seen as a sign of dedication. There's even a word for it, inamuri, which means sleeping while present. It basically means you've worked so hard that you can't stay awake. So if your boss catches you napping at your desk, you might actually earn some respect instead of getting fired. Try doing that anywhere else and see how long you keep your job. 3. It's legal to drink alcohol in public. Yep, Japan is one of the few developed countries where you can buy a can of beer or sake from a vending machine and drink it right there in the park. No police, no fines, as long as you're not causing a scene. In fact, during festivals or cherry blossom season, it's completely normal to see families, co-workers, and students drinking outdoors together. Imagine doing that in New York or London without getting side-eyed by the cops. 4. You can legally own exotic pets, including monkeys and owls. In Japan, pet culture goes way beyond cats and dogs. You'll find owl cafes, hedgehog cafes, and even capybara hot springs. As long as the animal isn't on the country's endangered species list and you have proper registration, you can legally own them. It's not uncommon to see people walking around Tokyo with monkeys on their shoulders or raccoons in backpacks. It's definitely cute, but also a little wild when you think about it. 5. Love hotels are 100% legal and everywhere. In some countries, these would be considered scandalous or even banned, but in Japan, love hotels are part of normal life. They're designed for couples who want privacy, and they're decorated in every theme you can imagine. From castles to space pods, you name it. They're clean, discreet, and some even come with costumes, karaoke machines, and bubble baths. It's so common that even married couples use them just to escape tiny apartment life for a few hours. This one is a much debated topic in Japan today. But the legal age of consent is 13 years old in Japan, and one of the lowest in the world. Age of consent refers to the minimum age at which a person is considered to be capable of giving consent to sexual acts. In fact, this has been part of the Japan Penal Code since 1907, more than 100 years without change, while at the same time leaving some gray area for specific cases. At the end of the day, though, the national age of consent in Japan is 13 years old. On somewhat of a lighter note, it's legal in Japan to marry your first cousin. Like many of these laws in the video, it may be legal in some countries or, if you're from the US, in your state. But the truth is, in other parts of the world, marrying your first cousin is still against the law. So, I thought this one was worth mentioning. This law dates all the way back to Japan's Meiji period when it was passed in 1898. It's common enough in Japan that there's a word for it, ita kokon. In fact, there have been many famous and well-known people in Japan who have married their first cousins. For example, Japan's 56th Prime Minister, who was the grandfather of Japan's more recent Prime Minister Abe, was married to his first cousin. There were even 2 prime ministers after him who were also married to their first cousins. One of the reasons for this law was to allow families to keep their wealth within their family. Unfortunately, for those living in Japan today who also want to legally spend the rest of their life with their first cousin, Japan is all for it. So, this is another interesting one. In Japan, you can sue someone for defamation if they damage your honor, aka public image, even if the statements are true. This one kind of blew my mind since I'm from the US, and we understand defamation to be different. But in Japan, hurting someone's honor, or even hurting a company's honor, is protected by law, despite the statements being true. I should note, though, that many laws in Japan leave a lot of gray areas. But the main 3 criteria for defamation in Japan are:
First, the statement must be published or communicated to a third party. Second, the statement must assert a fact, rather than simply express an opinion. Third, it must objectively harm the reputation of the individual or entity involved.
So, for example, telling your coworkers or the public that your married boss is having an affair with someone, even though it's completely true, is considered defamation in Japan. Even online statements, if the three previously mentioned criteria are met, can be considered defamation. There are exceptions, though, such as when you're stating facts about public interest, or you're a whistleblower exposing company fraud. But at the end of the day, the Japanese law is meant to protect individuals and companies from malicious actors that intend to harm their honor or image. Here were two examples that actually happened in Japan. Case 1. In 2018, a person was having an affair, and it was posted on social media by a third party. Although the affair was happening, the person sued the third party for defamation. The Tokyo District Court judged in favor of the plaintiff and awarded 100,000 yen, about $820 today. Case 2. A quasi-rape incident occurred in an event circle. A magazine published an anonymous report about the incident without giving the subject's real name. In this case, although the incident happened and the subject was anonymous in the report, the court still ruled for the subject, as it was judged that the subject could be identified by the totality of the circumstances. The subject received a total of 4.4 million yen in defamation damages, about $36,000. Maybe not necessarily illegal around the world, but I thought this one was worth mentioning. So yeah, if you're in Japan and someone's talking about you in a way you don't like, you may be able to do something about it. Now, this one is quite a sensitive topic for many people, so I'm gonna tread lightly. In Japan, hunting whales and dolphins, as well as eating seal and sea lion, is completely legal. Although it's part of the diet for some Japanese, it's probably safe to say that most people don't eat it regularly. Yet it's still easy to find in shops and some restaurants. Even a quick search on Amazon will show results for some of these animals. On the other hand, shark fin is also legal to eat in Japan. It's probably more commonly eaten, and I think it's fair to say that many Japanese consider it a delicious food since it's easily found on menus, especially in Chinese restaurants throughout Japan. But since it's such an expensive delicacy here, most Japanese people probably won't be eating it regularly. Whether you agree with any of this or not, the simple fact is that, at this time, it's legal to eat these foods here in Japan. So these days, we all pretty much know that cigarettes are not that good for you. Many places around the world have laws protecting citizens, including children, from cigarettes and secondhand smoke. But Japan, although not quite there yet, is slowly catching up. There are still things that you can do legally here in Japan when it comes to cigarettes that aren't necessarily legal in other parts of the world. In Japan, you can still buy cigarettes from vending machines, granted you have a Taboo photo ID card and you are of age. Also, although most indoor smoking has been prohibited since 2020, you can still smoke in hotel rooms, cigar bars, and even some small restaurants and bars that were open before April 2020. I don't know though. I feel like there are still a lot of restaurants and bars throughout Japan that were open before 2020. Either way, Japan has come a long way from where it was just a few years ago when you could smoke pretty much anywhere indoors. Anyway, those are things that you can legally do in Japan that may be illegal in other parts of the world. If you guys like this video, like always, help me out and hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this or anything related to Japan, hit that subscribe button and the bell button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.